Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Tuesday, June 7, starting with the ASX on the 4-hour chart here. We were talking yesterday about, or over the last few days rather, whatever, the possibility of being an ABC here for a triangle. That would be wave 1 and 2 and would come down for 3, 4 and 5 here for wave C, and then we would move up. Now this particular pattern here is in line with the S&P 500 being a bullish market. So once we finish these 5 waves here, then anything below that then will be into a bearish market at that point. So we'll need to just be a little bit mindful of that, but otherwise further to the upside. And because I'm just going to use one of the US banks actually here just to describe what's going on in the US market. So from the low here, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for wave 1, and then an A wave and a B wave and a C wave. And in this C wave here, we're looking for 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish off for wave 2. Probably won't pull back to its 61.8%, but that's kind of what we're looking at. So once that we can see wave 1 here. I haven't really had a good look at wave 2 there. Wave 2 is probably already in there at this point, but I have to pull that apart, but looks like the third. Look, probably we got in here, but just be mindful that we could get a little kick here before we get wave 3, 4 and 5. But it's really just to show you the flow of the global markets, and the tech stocks have got the same sort of pattern as well. And that's what we're also kind of looking at with CBA as well. But just before we go there, we've got wave D, an A and a B and a C wave here with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So if we see the market drop down here today, then we'll kind of know where we are in that space. But at the same time, we also need to be mindful that anything beyond this 5-wave structure here, and we could be in a bear market at that point. I'm kind of on the bullish side, but I need to be open to both of them and just stay with the evidence as it happens. So even when we get down here, I won't know what's going on until I get an impulse wave of a reasonable, let's just say from that B wave to that C wave there. If we grab that distance, and once it's done, we grab that distance, and then we'll look at the 61.8% mark here. Now, if it was going to be bearish, it would go back to the 61.8% mark in 3 waves. But if it's bullish, it will go to the 61.8% in 5 waves. And if it goes in 5 waves, then it's going to have an ABC back. And that's where we're going to catch it to the long side. And then we'll be in our longer term trend at that point. Now, in the meantime, it's okay to go short here. But the 7,200, is like pretty significant, and the market is sticking to it. So any short trade, you'd want that as a retested resistance, and even then it's going to be a little bit tricky. There's a lot of history here and support and so on. If we go to the 1-hour chart to pick this up a little bit here, so from D as an A wave, a B wave, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the C wave of this here. So I'm tracking other counts in here, so don't get thrown off by that. But we just let's just see if we get this first in here, and it might be kind of really small and not a big deal, and it'll be in line with the US market. So we'll just see how that plays there. So if you do go short, it's not just take what you can really. When we have a look at the our bank here, we could view this in a couple of different ways, but on the positive side, we'll just look at this as wave 1 and 2. I could look at this as the A wave here, then an A and a B and a C wave here. So that's also on my mind as well. That would be in line with the US putting this over here, but I don't know if we got the time for all of that. So what we'd be looking for in the meantime is looking for this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up to the upside here, and then looking for an ABC pattern coming back down into that 50-60% sort of area through here over the next 2 sessions to finish that off. And we could have that as the A wave here and the B wave over to here already. So we could, now that that's moved down a little bit, we could probably put that there. Still a little bit early bringing it down because we still need to confirm a few things, but we'll just see how that plays out at this point. But that's sort of where we are. So we're sort of gearing up for a long trade, but we need a few things to fall in line first. Okay, over to the resources. So this is iron ore here. This particular one from China is coming back up to the top here. So we can pretty much view this as an ABC pattern down here, and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and a nice third wave here. But obviously coming into the old highs here, it's just going to be sitting here for a while. So yeah, it's just going to flicker around in here, so I won't go to the intraday just yet. But the Singapore one that we're also bringing on board to keep an eye on, let me just get this sorted a bit. Don't need that. That's okay to see those things, it's enough. So we were talking yesterday about also this being an A and a B and a C, and we just remember that the Chinese one is further up, has moved further up here. So we just sort of focused on this little move here. We can see that sharp move up there. We could look at that as wave 1 or wave A, and then wave 2 here. And then we're tracking this little move up here. We can clearly see we've got 1 and 2 here, and the nice strong third wave in here. So when you think about it, if this is 1 and 2 and this is 1 and 2, then we're going to go through a whole series of 3s and 4s and 5s here. So yeah, but we can, that little green thing here was really, once we've got those 5 little waves in here, anything beyond above that would tell us that it's also bullish as well. So that's why that's there. It's not actually to go long, so I'm just going to remove that now. But yeah, we'll just keep talking about that, about this pattern. So we need to move past the ABC pattern to this point with it, and the 61.8% and so on. But all things being equal, the other point on the positive side is looking at this move up here, this whole move here, as being 5 waves up. So it'll be 1 and 2 here, and 3 to here, then 4 to here, then 5 to go up to there, then the ABC pattern over here. And if we get that, then we also helps us confirm that we're bullish at that on that note. So we're kind of waiting. It's looking good. We're just waiting to confirm that things are going to be bullish, and we need that for the likes of BHP and so on. And yeah, so we've got a position here. We can get a smaller position here that didn't get triggered, and basically we'll be looking, the safer trade will be up here on that. Once we can confirm that move on iron ore from Singapore or from China as being an impulse wave up here, then we can move with that. So that's what we're waiting for, to confirm the next bullish trend. So with Rio here, it'd be pretty much, we wouldn't be far off seeing 5 waves up here. We may push up a little bit, we may turn from here, but we're looking for an ABC pattern to pull back before pushing up higher. And I think coming into these old highs here, and also understanding where iron ore was. So when we think about iron ore here for a moment, it's at this 90 here, this old high here. So it's just going to be, it's going to spend maybe 2 weeks in here or something, you know, before we're seeing it sort of further up there. So if that's the case, then this is going to be, you know, between say 108 and 120 here in that space for quite some time. So I don't think we really need, you know, it's not going anywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't really need to figure it all out at this point, but expect it to, we'll keep the stop out of the way, but we can expect it to be in that space for a while. Fortescue kind of does its own little thing. I was thinking, as you know, it's a triangle pattern. It's an A and a B and a C and a D, and then an E wave here. So we'll just see how that plays out. It could push up a little bit higher here, and if it takes out these tops here, well, then we'll be going long with it. We're on the bullish side, but while the other markets are flirting around with their highs, then, you know, it's still possible to get another swing lower here for this before heading higher. Just don't know yet, but at the same time, we want to be getting a classic trading levels pattern on 22. We want to be moving and grooving with that to the upside. natural gas, so it's moved up nice. Well, we had a nice gap and it's followed through on that run. You can see that it's curving over here, so it's at the old highs here. So we were looking for a classic trading levels pattern here. Didn't really get the classic trading levels pattern here. It just kind of burned straight through here without stopping. You know, we could say that this was the arrival and the reaction and so on. But when this sort of occurs here like that and just burns straight through, we end up, I just call it the overshoot pattern. And it's a bit like this here where it doesn't stop at the level and just keeps going through. And look, it will run out of steam and then it will fold back into that particular price point and bounce and find support and, you know, get back on there. So I think we're looking at something like that. So I think that that will come back on that. There could be even one more little push to the upside for this. It may come back and push up a bit higher, but and I don't think we've got that now. It's too high up there. So we've got something else here. Still can't figure it out. Can't see it. If it doesn't jump out at me, then I've got to kind of work for it, and then I kind of end up forcing things. So I'll just continue to wait, but we'll have a look at that in my spare time. I don't think that we're in the B wave. I do think we need to drag that back over here for that now. So that's going to be one thing out of the way. One small step for Pete. Yeah, still could be an ABC, but I just don't think that's the case either. So I'm just going to move that out. I think we're going to go for the bullish case with all of this. So, but how to play it out, I'm not quite sure. So we really just need to stay with what we know at this point. So what we know is from this little low here, it's 1 and 2, a nice strong third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. So it's probably got another little, it could even just continue to move up at this point, you know. I'll just leave a sec, but it hasn't played out this leg here, and then we also need to treat this leg in here. So it's probably the A, the B, and the C here, and then 1 and 2, and then going up for the third wave up here somewhere. So it's sort of chuffing along, be up there somewhere. It's going to keep going. Like I said, just the big numbers, you know what I mean? It's yeah. Once something sits on 8, it looks at 10. 9 always gives it a bit of a hard time, but in the scheme of things, it doesn't really stop it too much. Anyway, I've got some work to do on that, but I mean, the main point here is like, we're not really trading. I mean, probably folks may be trading it, but we're really sort of interested in stocks for this on the Australian market, at least anyway. So if we go down to Woodside, so everything's panned out quite nicely here, really. So I don't think we're going to be seeing this pullback here, but I'll just clone that. So we also want to be, we'll get another position in here, because I know now we're going to be taking out this top. This correction is the accumulation process here, so we should be able to get that distance here in price. So we should be up at $38 to $40 in all of this for the next tour to the upside. Can we clone that? Yeah. So we'll put that at 40, and we'll just put that as grey because it's a medium level. It's halfway between 30 and 50, the next levels up. So 10, 20, 30, 50 and 80. So yeah, I think that's all good at that point. It will give some sort of correction here. It'll be something like 1, 2, it'll be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, maybe. Yeah, we'll keep this here. We might get the max that will come down will be 31.50. Could go to 31.45 tops, but in a pullback, but not much more than that. I know my numbers, I know how it works, so we're all good there. And Stantos is doing much the same as well, so that's another winning trade here. I mean, even though I didn't really understand all of this and didn't really focus on it, what I did understand is this, you know, snaking along the number 8 here and just really, you know, eventually finding it as support. You know, that's the thing to look at, is kind of seeing it as alive and living. And yeah, it got smacked here, then here, made a new high, took out some of the supply here, struggled here, but I could see when it was sitting here, so we got the timing just nice. It is moving up on lower volumes, so there will be, you know, this move up here does need to come back and check. So we're going to wait for that check. You know, we'll see where it will probably push up a bit today, but at some point it's going to come back and check, you know. And once it comes back and checks and then moves off again, then we can bring our stop up under that checking, because it's checked it at that point. You know, it's done its, I don't know why, is that activated? Yeah, then we can put it up under there once it's done that check. But otherwise, I mean, could probably squeeze it up under here, but so you could probably get it a bit closer, but we'll just leave it out of the way. We don't need it at the moment. Everything is going well. We've got a good accumulation process of, you know, to help us move along with this. And also too, we'll be looking at its next level, which will be 9, which is also a medium level. So we'll put that there. That's all good. So yeah, all sweet there, Rosie. So we'll move on from that. Now, gold. I think that it's really shaping up to be bearish at this point. So be very careful with any gold stocks that you have. And yeah, so it looks like we want to come down further. Not so much on this market, but certainly it sticks out. I better not say that, but on GDX it sticks out a bit further. So I'm thinking that US spot gold's going to be pulling down here further. So I just want to, I'll come back to that. So with GDX here, I think, well, I know that we've got 5 waves here, then we've got a correction, then we've got another 5 waves here, and then we've got a correction, we've got another 5 here. So even if we looked at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is not the case because wave 3 would be too short, but wave 5 is there. So we could look at it as wave 1 and back for wave 2 and then down, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then going down further at that point. Right, so, oh, that's not GDX, is it? Where's GDX? Sorry about that. GDX, sorry, over here, sorry about that. So, yeah, well, you can see here the stochastics, you know, this little move up here coincided with the big move coming, you know, in the stochastics coming back up here. So it's overreaching. The speed of this is telling us that we're, you know, we're likely to be going to the downside here. And we've got 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So I think that it could end up moving pretty quickly in all of this. So I think you need to somehow protect your positions if you're on the long side, or if you've got shares in gold, then you'll need to protect them as well. So just I'll just go to what I'm just going to go to the 100 ticks here, and we'll come back to US spot gold in a moment. So I'm thinking that the move up here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like we had, and we had that as an A wave and a B wave, and we were looking for this to be wave 1 up here and then coming back for wave 2. But the problem with that now, if you've got a keen eye, we could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here. So this is what we're, you know, we're getting it all sort of ready. It appears that this will come back to this supply group in here. So it looks like we're going to get some sort of rally, and then we'll come down again from that point. So what that does, it solidifies, or, you know, sets that in stone here as the corrective pattern, as the ABC pattern here. and having an impulse wave here helps. There's a couple of boxes ticked for this to be wave 1 here and wave 2 here now. Okay, so yeah, 5 waves down here, so we'll see 5 come down here. We'll see some sort of ABC pattern here that you could end up getting out of up here if you wanted to hold in there, and then we'll be moving. We'll get another bounce off here, of course, but moving down at that point. So in a pretty vulnerable position. So coming back to this market here, so this is a 2 weekly chart, so it's likely to come back down and test the 16, to test these lows here. So the daily chart here, there's a couple of ways we could count it, but the A wave and the B wave and the C wave we have here for the other C wave for the D and the E here as a triangle pattern, it's still possible. It's not all lost, but as I just explained on GDX there, it's starting to shape up to give us a bit of a bear market move. So wave 1 here, wave 2 here. And then I could break this into 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, but just for the moment I'll just keep it as wave 1 and 2 here, and that would be in line with GDX at that point. But it's not really in line because this high here was way in front of GDX. This so we could probably get another 1 and 2 out of this here in reality. So I'll just put this in here. It'd be something like this. So once again, we're getting that the same thing that we looked at with GDX there as well. So I mean, it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for an A wave and possibly back for a B wave. So we could keep a bit of an eye on that. I think we're on 100 ticks, so we'll just go in and have a look at this in a bit of detail. Need a bit more data. Even a bit more, 50, yes, good. So I was looking, you know, we were looking at it as an A wave and a B wave and then up for 1 and back for 2 and moving up here higher. But that's just not going to be the case because this is pulled down past the 61.8%. So we've got to call that in. So this is either wave D now, sitting there, if we look at the triangle pattern, wave 2, or if we were looking at it probably in the right way, it'll be this wave 2 here. But either way, what's happening here is that the support that was through here, that we're looking at this as 1 and 2 here and then moving up, it's moved down now and it's basically giving us an impulse wave to the downside. So yeah, if you got gold positions in stocks, then I think you need to, you know, there's no rush, but, and we'll keep working on it, but I do think that you now need to consider a hedge or an exit or consider it. If you're in a gold stock, you can send it over to me and we can have a bit of a look at it and find a solution for it. I can give you some ideas. But yeah, I'm just getting the sense now that this A, B, and C that we're looking at that go further up here, we need to bring that in here because this has dropped too far. It's not totally destroyed yet, but it does appear that it's going to be that way. It's a bit hard to push this up here as wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 with this overlap on 4 to here. It just doesn't, it looks okay on the daily chart, but doesn't really sort of solve the problem. I mean, it could be something more complicated, but I'm getting that bearishness in the air here. So yeah, I mean, one way to look at it is if this number here, the 1820, becomes the retested resistance. I know that's a long way, but I would know based on the trading levels at that point that would be bearish at that point. It would be pulled down to the 18 at that point. If it does that, well, then it'll get under the 18 and then move lower at that point. So we do now need to look at it, and I really don't think it's the triangle pattern anymore. We need to look at it as this wave 2 or possibly this wave 2. Right, so that puts, and that's GDX here, so for that, so we know that we've got wave 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. We could possibly look at it as a C wave, as I mentioned, but the pattern up here is just not, from that move down here, deeply here, it just appears that it's 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not really worried about the spike. So a rally and then further downside. So if that rallies, let's say it just bounces off the 32, which is logical, looking at across here, there's good support there. If it bounces off there and then makes a way through down here, then that's the time to act in terms of hedging and doing all other sorts of things. Once again, it's difficult to look at this as 5 waves up here. It's a long shot, and even so, it would still be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for that. So this is a larger wave A and larger wave B, possibly. I'll give that some consideration. But yeah, so for Newcrest here, we talked yesterday about shorting under this low here because that would be the way to go on that. So we're just going to stay with that. I don't think we need to look up here for that. I think we're just coming straight down. So us getting out of that trade in hindsight is not the right thing to do. I was probably panicked, but I think I did all the right. I think I managed it okay. And anyway, we're getting back in, so it was a good exercise. Yeah, but let's just see. So you could probably, if you wanted to bring that up, because of where gold is at the moment and has moved down, you could probably just short that under there and pop the stop above that. Okay, so I'm going to move it up from here to here, but it needs to clear that low by 1 cent. And then over to the Australian dollar. So the Australian dollar here, yesterday we're looking at possible wave 1 top being in place, and then an A wave and a B wave and a C wave. So that's all playing out reasonably well. I'm not that interested in trading this C wave down here. This would also just be in line with the S&P 500, so we're looking for 5 waves here. Once we get that, we get our first little impulse wave off the low there, then we'll look to start trading long in this. And we could stay long for quite a long time in all of this. So if there's another way that you could enter this in some sort of other, I don't know if there's any ETFs in this, but something that doesn't have overnight financing like CFDs or something like that, maybe the future spot market, but you have to go to trade that out of Chicago, I think, that the Aussie dollar. We used to have it in Australia, so there's a futures market. It was a shame that they took it off. That was the Sydney Futures Exchange. When the ASX bought it, they dumped it. It was quite a few years ago, though. A bit annoying. Yeah, so anyway, just we're looking for that little B wave. We got that. So we're looking now at this length here will be roughly this length here, and this will be wave 1 here, and then there'll be 2 and 3. So you could short it. So the third wave you could short, and then the fourth and the fifth. So I'll leave that with you though for that. I'm more interested in this side over here for that. So we'll be looking to go long over here or even before that with a smaller position. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.